Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, even if you just want to outsmart me on something I said, go ahead, shoot me a quick take, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. And shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I'm not sure about you, but I got a couple of games that I want to go to this year. So I'm going to go ahead and create that account and save myself $20. Anyway, look, man, big Sunday here that happened in the NFL, but I got to start off with the rivalry game down in the NFC South. Obviously, a lot of y'all know I'm not going to rub it in too much because I really got to critique my own team here. I'm in the Atlanta Falcons. They really did not impress me on one of these ends of the ball. But anyway, the Falcons, they defeated the New Orleans Saints 26-14, and there was a game-winning kick by Young Hoku that really won the Falcons this game. It was like a 58-yard kick. And man, this brought it home for the Atlanta Falcons. But the biggest takeaway from this game here of watching this huge rival between the Falcons and the Saints was the Falcons defense saved the day once again. The Falcons defense were there. They got stops. They were the only ones scoring touchdowns, including special teams. But outside of Young Hoku, the defense and special teams, the Atlanta Falcons offense didn't do anything on the field. They couldn't get the ball in the end zone. So that was just a disturbing offense to watch, which I'll explain in just a sec. But got to give kudos to the defense, first of all, because the defense, they scored all the touchdowns in this game for the Atlanta Falcons. They had a pick six that went and put up 6 points, and obviously the extra point on there. The special teams unit ended up putting up 6 points as well, recovering a muffed punt return. So you got to love that. But this is the third straight game from the Atlanta Falcons defense where they forced a turnover. And this is huge because you haven't been playing scrubs, especially with the schedule that they have. They forced Patrick Mahomes to throw an interception, Jalen Hurts to throw an interception, and also Derek Carr to throw an interception. And ultimately, 2 of these 3 games were wins. So this is something to be excited about if you are the Atlanta Falcons. The fact that they finally have a defense to be proud of. And they finally have a defense that can actually win you ball games, and that's making big plays. However, the only concern I have here with the Falcons defense is just the linebacker unit. I know some injuries still going on. Hopefully everybody's fully healthy at the end of the season and stuff. But above all, what I'm watching here on the field, I'm seeing the linebacker unit get targeted a lot. The safeties and the corners, they're playing over top to make sure they block off any big plays that could potentially happen. But above all, we're letting teams turn 7 yards into 20 yards. We got killed by the Saints because of that. It was also a little bit difficult to stop the run game in the first half. However, I got to give kudos and got to give credit where it's due because Troy Anderson, He faces a lot of criticism about being a young linebacker for the Atlanta Falcons, and this dude played really well against the Saints, man. 16 total tackles. He had the pick six. He had 1 tackle for a loss. Like, you got to give this guy credit, and I think he really shows his potential at times. And again, covering receivers and tight ends and running backs is probably the most difficult thing for our defense right now within that linebacker unit. But above all, we've seen some adjustments being made that ultimately help the Falcons buckle down and lock in and ultimately win the game. So I'm excited about the defense. Can clean up a little bit, but the defense is definitely better than the offense. And it's not even close right now with the Falcons because the offense, the struggles are tremendous. It's awful. It's awful. It's sad to watch. We came in with so much hype watching the Atlanta Falcons offense. We had Kirk Cousins hype. We had Bijan Robinson coming back for all his hype. Kyle Pitts, who ain't did a damn thing. All his hype was there. Drake London, he plays fairly well. But we had so much hype surrounding this offense just for very, very little production. And it is not good for the Atlanta Falcons if you claim to be going to the Super Bowl and claim to be being a legitimate contender in the NFC, because the defense will not be able to carry you game after game after game after game if you can't even get in the end zone at all. This is the part that's disturbing. Not only is the play calling bad, but also the play from our quarterback is bad too. But let's just start with the play calling. The play calling is awful. I love the designs that we see from our offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson. Zach Robinson can come up with some good designs for the Falcons, but when they are called, means everything. This guy is calling 3 passing plays when you're 3rd and 5 or 2nd and 5 and 4th and 5. Like, you're calling plays at the wrong time, and it's ultimately hurting because we're not picking up yardage and we're not capitalizing on the advantages we have. One of these advantages being a dynamic duo in the backfield between Algier and Bijan Robinson. Drake London on the outside. Kyle Pitts is a huge advantage that we have, but we don't utilize them. So the offensive play call is a huge aspect where the Falcons got to clean up, because we see some creativity there, and it seems to be getting better and better each week, even though they kind of took a step backward in this Saints game. But above all, that has to improve. The offensive play call has to improve in order for everything else to start flowing. The next thing that has to work with the Atlanta Falcons offense, Kirk Cousins. Bruh, Kirk Cousins, I get it. He ain't never really been the perfect quarterback. Kirk Cousins ain't never been the guy to, wow you and play the perfect game. He's always been that quarterback that's going to get better through the game, make his mistakes and clean them up as the game goes on, and ultimately win you a game. And I can accept that part, but what I cannot accept here is that Kirk Cousins threw an interception or had a turnover in 3 of the 4 games that the Falcons have played so far. That is unacceptable, bro. This is an offense that's supposed to be a high tier in this conference, and they're looking sloppy from the head to toe of offensive play calling all the way to executing on the field on the offensive end of the ball. So they have to clean this part up here. And as far as the what Kirk Cousins is doing, I mean, yeah, he can put the ball in certain places at times, but when you're giving the ball to the other team multiple times in a game, it hurts. It hurts. And right now, with the Falcons offense and what we see from Kirk Cousins and the play call and all, it just shows me that they're skating by. They're skating by. They're barely winning these games. They're coasting by. The defense is saving everything that they're doing. They're barely winning these ball games, and they're just skating by. And until the Atlanta Falcons are running like a well-oiled machine week after week, I don't want to hear no noise about being an actual Super Bowl contender or a big-time contender in the NFC. These boys got to get it together. If you improve each week, then, okay, you get a little bit of leeway, but this was a step backwards against the Saints. It was a step backwards, man. They got to improve on that offensive end. And, the defense, they stood tall, they did their thing, but we got to get both sides of the ball really, really clicking. And if the Falcons can get both sides clicking, offense and defense, then we can talk about, how far this team can go. But right now, let's just get back to the basics. Let's sort it out and let's make sure we can fix some things. But anyway, look, man, hey, we got some more stuff. I actually have Raheem Morris here after the Falcons win. I had the audio, not the actual person. I have Raheem Morris, head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. He's here, the audio after the game that the Falcons won over the New Orleans Saints. Here's him in the locker room via Atlanta Falcons.
Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. Hey, bring it up, fellas. Get tight, get tight, get tight. Hey, guys, get tighter, get tighter, get tighter. Hey, let me tell you this, man. That is the definition of resiliency. That is exactly what we talked about, right? Nobody blink. None of the other stuff matter. It doesn't matter. You keep doing what you do. You stay in the fight. I give us a chance against anybody. Tyler, way to go out there and run that rock. Hey, defense. That's how you ball up in the second half. That's how you ball up in the second half. And stop the run. Hey, guys, quick turnaround. We're ready to recovery. Here we come. Here we come.
All right, and news for the run. Let's get into it, man. So starting off with some college football, crazy things going on right now. UNLV quarterback Matthew Sluka is leaving the school over claims of an unfulfilled NIL deal. However, allegedly, the deal was negotiated for Sluka to receive $100,000 to play this season at UNLV, but the school only gave him $10,000. So a lot of controversy has been going on. They've been trying to figure out what went wrong. Reporters have talked to the kid's dad, Bob Sluka, and he said the head coach Barry Odom told him the offer wasn't valid because it didn't come from the head coach, Barry Odom. And however, things continue to advance. So now they're figuring this thing out. UNLV, as a staff, released a statement about this situation because it's gotten public. It's began to draw so much attention. Their statement says, Matthew Sluka's representatives made financial demands among the university and its NIL collective in order to continue playing. UNLV Athletics interpreted these demands as a violation of the NCAA pay-for-play rules, as well as Nevada state law. This is a wild breakdown because, truthfully be told, bro, I don't really know exactly what that means, telling them, oh, it's a violation of the pay-to-play rules. I know it's just wrong to tell a guy he's getting $100,000 and you only play him 10. But for Matthew Sluka's case at UNLV, it does kind of work out for him because he's going to redshirt. It's not too late for him in the season to not play. He can redshirt. He can attain his last year as a senior, and then he can transfer to another school and continue to live out his dream of playing college football, possibly going to the NFL. So that's your drama for today in that college football area. But we're not done yet because there was some crazy game day scores, man. Alabama versus Georgia was a showdown. That was a crazy game in Tuscaloosa. 41-34, Alabama ended up defeating Georgia, but we did see a crazy comeback in the second half. Georgia scored 27 points, and they ended up losing. They fell short, but they did make it entertaining to watch. Definitely had me and the rest of the Bama fans scared over here. So great game. And now the cool thing about it is Bama is ranked number 1. So, hey, roll tide. Anyway, Miami survived Virginia Tech in a close matchup over the weekend. The U, they won 38-34. And this game was almost the other way around. There was a Hail Mary that was ruled incomplete that would have favored Virginia Tech, but they ended up calling it incomplete. And it was an actual incomplete pass when you watch the replay. You see he didn't have possession of it when he came down and actually hit the ground. So it was the right call, but a lot of people were upset about this because some people want to see Miami win, some people want to see Miami fall. Anyway, Colorado, they defeated Central Florida 48-21. Notre Dame, they defeated Louisville 31-24. Texas smacked up Mississippi State 35-13. And now the new rankings for the top 5 in college football proceeds as number 1, Alabama, number 2, Texas, number 3, Ohio State, number 4, Tennessee, and Georgia dropped 3 spaces down to number 5. So it's going to be some crazy matchups next week as well. We'll talk about that later on in the week, probably give some predictions as well. But let's go to the NFL scores. Tonight, we got a couple good matchups between the Detroit Lions and the Seattle Seahawks. They will be battling it out against each other. And also, we'll see the Miami Dolphins take on the Tennessee Titans tonight in prime time. But let's finish off week 3 here because there was a lot of good, or week 4, I'm sorry. There was a lot of good games that, a lot of people want to hear the recap on. My team ended up being successful, but maybe yours did too. Anyway, starting with the Thursday night football, the Dallas Cowboys smacked up the Giants 20-15. It was kind of a boring game, but hey, how about those Cowboys? I guess. I'm not even going to give them an applaud for that. The Bears ended up extending that win streak at home. They're now 7 straight games in winning at home at Soldier Field after they beat the Rams 24-18. The Vikings, they beat the Packers 31-29. The Colts fell short, or the Colts actually beat the Steelers 27-24. Jets and the Broncos had a boring game. No one could really get the score up, but Broncos ended up winning 10-9. Eagles fell short to the Buccaneers. They got smacked. The Buccaneers won that 33-16, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Other than that, you seen the Texans and the Jaguars. Texans won that game. Commanders, they beat the Cardinals. 49ers, they beat the Patriots. The Browns fell short to the Raiders. Chiefs over the Chargers. And then the Ravens beat the Bills yesterday in prime time. However, the game I want to focus on is the Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because this game was crazy. We saw a lot of trash talk early on. CJ Gardner had a lot of trash talk. He had a lot of things to say, but he ended up getting messed up and was quiet after the game. Obviously, I told you, the Eagles, they won, or they lost. They got wrecked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 33-16. And this was a nasty loss here. Eagles allowed 24 points in the first half. And at one point in the first half, the Eagles had 0 yards. There's a picture floating out there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers literally had over 150 yards, and the Eagles had 0. The offense did not get going, and I'm going to put this blame on them as an organization from head to toe, but I wouldn't be right if I didn't give credit to Jalen Hurts, because what kind of offense are you running over there where you can't get a single yard after you have Saquon Barkley in your backfield and you got the receivers that the Eagles have over there? I can't stand behind that. Hurts, to me, from what I've witnessed, is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. Jalen Hurts is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. He's a more athletic Brock Purdy with more turnovers, even more turnovers than Brock Purdy. I give him all the athleticism. Hurts being a more athletic Brock Purdy, but turning the ball over don't do nothing but help when he's picking up a first down. If he can't control the offense and run the offense and limit his turnovers, what good are you doing out here? What good is the Eagles doing paying you $255 million? It's not good. And I say Hurts is overrated because mainly the turnover ratio is just not adding up to his production on the field. He's had at least 1 turnover in 12 straight regular season games. He's had 27 turnovers total since 2023. He's currently top 5 in turnovers this season, and he's consistently been top 5 in interceptions over the past 2 seasons. Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 quarterback. I don't want to hear any of that noise. Jalen Hurts is not the guy that y'all think he is. The Eagles as an organization is the team and the franchise y'all think they are. They have the pieces. They have the hype. They have the branding. Jalen Hurts is not that guy. You can swap maybe 3 or 4, even more than that. You can swap about several quarterbacks in the NFL and their production would be much better than what Jalen Hurts is doing on the Eagles. All of these touchdowns and these statistics you see about, he scored another touchdown and all of that stuff. Look, it's cool. But if I would score a touchdown too, if somebody had to just push me across the 1 yard line. I guarantee you. And if you listen to this, I'm sure they could push you right across the 1 yard line in 4th and inches and get a touchdown. It's ridiculous, man. And to his credit, I know I said a lot about him. He's getting dogged out, whatever. But to his credit, Jalen Hurts, I mean, yes, he is very athletic. He's a solid quarterback. He belongs in the NFL. I don't want to get that picture, depicted in the wrong way. He deserves to be in the NFL. He's a good quarterback. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's not a good quarterback. But when people say, he's top 5 and he's the best ever, and he's, top 3 and one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, that's all nonsense, bro. That is nonsense because that's not the case. That is just not the case at all. He's athletic with a big arm, but that's nothing we haven't seen before with any quarterback in the NFL. I'd rather take a quarterback who is unathletic with a big arm and limits his turnovers much more than a quarterback who can run and throws a turnover, throws an interception every game. I don't want that. Anyway, look, man, hey, they're not the only team that had a rough time. The New York Jets and the Denver Broncos also struggled. And I'm going to say this too, because we're going to wrap up in just a sec. I know I've had y'all for a good amount of time, but I'm going to just say this before we actually go. The New York Jets and the Denver Broncos, we witnessed this game. And the Broncos won by 1 point, 10-9. Low scoring game here. And I just got to say, bro, the Jets are an unserious team. This is a very unserious team, bro. First of all, you got so many problems going on within the locker room. It's clearly all translating onto the field. You can try and put that stuff behind you, but it's showing time after time. Aaron Rodgers doesn't get along with the head coach. It's clear they're bickering back and forth at each other. Every press conference chance they get, they're talking shit about each other. And that's just not the way you do it, bro. I don't know who's being the sassy pants here and who's being the one that's, crying about every little thing. Some people say, oh, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's the drama queen. But I mean, truthfully, we don't know, because let's look how petty the front office for the New York Jets are. It's been multiple weeks. You had all of training camp. It's week 4 in the NFL regular season, and the Jets still have not figured out what the hell they're going to do with Hassan Reddick. How haven't you figured this out? And how don't you have this resolved? This is a guy who's a key piece and could be a key factor on your defense, but instead you're letting him stick around and you're not trying to get anything resolved. He wants a paycheck. He wants to get paid. You think he's going to go out there, risk his health, risk injury, so you don't have to pay him? No, it doesn't work like that. Both sides are being petty, and I feel like there's every reason to believe that it's even worse than what we know in that locker room. From right now, when things are coming out in media and it shows how frustrated people are with each other, that says a lot. That says it's been boiling for a long time. You don't just come out of nowhere and drop 5 diss songs about a person like Kendrick Lamar and Drake. No, it's been boiling for a long time. Seeing Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers go back and forth all the time in media these past 4 weeks has been ridiculous. We've seen Aaron Rodgers have a whole burst out on the sideline with the head coach and all of that stuff. So it just shows, man, this organization is struggling right now, and they're supposed to be so good. They're supposed to have so much hype. They're supposed to be living up to these standards, but I don't think we're going to see any of that. I think this team is going to be the same as they were last year, even though they have Aaron Rodgers now. And at some point, they'll probably find a rhythm. But it's getting ridiculous, bro. It's getting ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I think we end up seeing them being another 9-8 team, wild card, eliminated that wild card game. Get them up out of there. Anyway, look, man, I'm going to leave y'all with this because I appreciate you for hanging with me. I appreciate you for tuning in. Of course, send us a voicemail call, 219-413-9405. If you want to go ahead, get it off your chest, leave a quick take. Promise you we'll go ahead and play it back later on in the week. But other than that, man, look, I'm going to leave y'all with a positive note, especially if you've been hanging with me. I'm going to say this, man. Practice self-care. Practice self-care. And I mean that by whether you need some sleep, go get some sleep. Whether you need to get some good food, go get some good food. You got to practice self-care. My thing lately has been sleep, man. I have not been sleeping as much as I want to, and I feel every bit of the defect. So I'm at the expense now of possibly not even watching Monday Night Football just because I have not been able to sleep. And it's killing me because I want to watch it. I don't place my bets, all of that. But I'm trying to make sure I practice what I preach in taking care of myself and getting sleep because I know I'm gonna need it. You might not feel it the next day or the first day or the third day, but you damn sure gonna feel it day 6 when you been staying up and you ain't been able to go to sleep. And I know we all ambitious souls out here. We're trying to get stuff done. We're trying to bring in extra money. We're trying to work toward our goals, study hard, whatever situation you're in that's causing you not to get no sleep or whatever it is that's causing you to lack self-care. Practice self-care. I'm on that same journey. I'm trying to make sure I practice self-care too. So I'm about to really, really try it. I'm gonna bust this episode out for y'all, drop this episode off, release, different sections and stuff, but y'all gonna get the full episode, obviously. Other than that, man, hey, look, I'll see y'all next week. Enjoy your Monday night games. It's hot as hell right now as I'm recording. I'm fired up. Maybe I will be able to sleep. Maybe I won't be able to. We'll see. But look, hey, follow the Instagram at The Run Podcast. Follow the TikTok, YouTube, all of that stuff at The Run Podcast. Hey, we're on a mission to get our YouTube to 5K. So we recently reached 1K, but we gotta get it to 5K, man. Hey, the 1K happened. It happened kind of quick. it happened, you know, at a good pace. So, you know, let's do it, man. Let's get to 5K. Follow the YouTube, subscribe to that. It's the Run Podcast on YouTube, or type in the Run with Manny Wilson. It's gonna pop up. Other than that, man, look, hey, share this with a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, a coworker, a friend, a niece, anyone you know who will enjoy it. I promise you, they will not mind. I've been talking for damn way too long. But if you've been listening and you all the way this far, I love you. I appreciate you. You the man for real. You the man for real. You part of the reason why I do this. For real. All right, look, I'm out of here, man. Hey, I'll see y'all later on this week. And so on and so on and so on.